Mercury Retrograde is going to be happening from April 2nd until April 26th, and it's going to up all of our lives. But don't worry, I'm here to show you how to take that stormy energy and just surf that beautiful wave like a champ. Keep watching. Hello, brothers and sisters. How did you like that TikTok intro? I still got it, don't I? So I'm really grateful for you joining me today. It's been a while since I've been back, so I'm really excited to just share my heart on what's going to be happening during this Mercury retrograde. In this video, I'm going to go over what a Mercury retrograde is, what specifically is going to be happening in the world at this time, and then go into personal zodiac sign predictions to help give you the tips and tricks and stories that are to help keep you safe and just thrive during this chaotic time of change. This is time of change, it's a time of healing, and we're all going to have a really, really good time. Things are going to look a lot different when we're done. Just before we get into that, one, please remember that there's a whole blog where I wrote this whole out. The link is in description. You can click there along with your personal zodiac sign predictions. And if you'd like to support me with all this amazing free stories I'm doing, there's two ways you can do that. One, you can go to my website and you can book an adventure with me. It's Zoom or in person, and we can talk about your stories and your charts and our hearts and really connect and help you plan and prepare. Two, I'm doing some market research for my new Astrology 101 course called The Natural Astrologer, Less Chart, More Heart, where you can join a tribe of confident astrologers who have fun and make money with my effortless story-based method. It's a simple 20 minutes on the Zoom call. Again, it's market research, so I'm just asking you questions. You're telling me your opinion. There's no right or wrong answer. So let's get right into it. So first, what is a Mercury retrograde? Mercury rules Gemini, which is the air that changes, sign of storms, and it rules Virgo, which is the earth that changes, signs of forests. So in nature, because I'm in nature-based astrology, that's a style I've come up with for myself. Astrology is not based upon the stars, but the laws of nature and the earth, all of this beautiful stuff, like right here. So a storm is the magic power of change and distraction. So anytime we're on a path, a storm comes along and it changes that path, right? The chaos and the change, when the storm leaves, we got a new path. So Mercury rules change. And then it also rules forests, because when you go in the forest, that's where we find the medicinal herbs and plants that heal us as medicine and solve our problems. So Mercury rules change, and it rules medicine and problem solving. So the retrograde just means two things. One, Mercury is incredibly close to Earth. It's like this planet is in town, it's in our fridge, eating our chunky monkey, Ben & Jerry's ice cream, watching TV on our couch. It's in our face, it needs our attention. So it's gonna be very powerful. And two, it's not two steps forward, but it's one step back. There's gonna be delays and obstacles. If we thought we were going to the beach to surf that wave, nope, we left the surfboard at home. Got to go back and get it, and that's what the Mercury retrograde, we got to go back. Okay, so we're problem solving for us, change storms. It's amazing. So this Mercury retrograde is on April 2nd and through April 26th. Now the 2 weeks before and the 2 weeks after is called the shadow period, where stuff is going to start changing and getting messed up a little bit. So when the Mercury retrograde hits, bam, that is what's really going to happen and what's really going to be needing our attention at that time. So just be aware, it's not April 2nd yet, but just look at the area in your life that's getting messed up. You can look on your rising sign and know that is what is going to be even more powerfully being affected. And then the shadow period ends around May 13th. So that is when it's really smooth sailing after that. So let's get right into it. This Mercury retrograde is going to be happening in the zodiac sign of Pisces. Pisces is the water that changes. It rules things like ocean and clouds and outer space. It has the magic power of space. So all of this stuff right here, space, see, emptiness, space, nothingness. So that is what is going to be happening at this time, is we're going to be looking at how do we create space in our lives. And depending upon our rising sign, that'll show what area of our lives we need to create space in. So the Mercury retrograde is showing generally in the world, how do we create space? And maybe it has to do with things like death. What is our relationship with death and creating space when you leave the planet? What about bankruptcy? What about charities? What about those who are lost, who are hidden? Because energy of space is things that are hidden, like orphans, widows, lepers, those who are sick, dying of cancer, alcoholics. So how do we deal with those who are lost, those who create space? It's very, very spiritual energy. Mercury is actually debilitated here because Mercury, the energy of change and problem solving, when you're floating around in space, there's nothing to change and problem solving. So this should be a very, very, very powerful Mercury retrograde. There should be a lot more chaos than normal, and it may be hard for us to think and be logical during this time. And that's okay, because Pisces is a sign of fantasy and letting go. It's where we open our hand to see what pops in, like this beautiful black jade necklace from my friend Amalia. So now let's get into the Zodiac rising sign prediction. So again, I do sidereal Vedic astrology, which is 24 degrees back. And I do that because it's what astronomers and sailors use. Those who have to be accurate use the sidereal zodiac. If you got any questions about your chart, or how to figure that out, you can always reach out to me, and then I will show you. I'll pull up your chart for free. So here we go, everyone. And remember, I've written this all out in my blog. So here we go. So first, if this Mercury retrograde is happening in Pisces, which is your first house, this is going to be strongly affecting your body and your ability to fight and get what you want, because the first house rules the warrior. It's our warrior story, and it rules our body. So this is going to be time you're going to be looking at what is my relationship with my body and strength and power. Where am I putting my strength? Where am I putting my power? Am I letting people take my power, or am I holding on my power and having thorns for my rose? This is a time where you may look at the ways you make your body stronger with food, with diet, with going to the gym, and the different power dynamics you have. Also, as a warrior story, what is our mission in your life? What are you trying to hit with your sword and your spear? You're going to be looking at what you're trying to achieve, what are your objectives at this time, and you're going to be changing that up. Now, if this is happening in Aries as your rising sign in Vedic astrology, this will be happening in your 12th house, which is the same energy as the 12th sign, the Zodiac Pisces. This is a story of loss, surrender, letting go, and creating space. So everything I said leading up to this is the same for an Aries rising. So this is time we're going to be looking at how do we create space in our lives and how have we created space. For example, if you're going through bankruptcy at this time, you may be going back and looking at those documents and refiling them and making sure that everything is copacetic. If you have anyone you're doing charity with someone sick in your family, if you've got widows or orphans or lepers in your life, how are you dealing with those people? How are you helping them? And how are you going back with that? This might be a time you might be giving up a lot of things in your life. Selling your shoes, giving up your clothes or your job or your home, things that you're trying to let go of. They're not ready to let go of yet, but they will be ready to let go on April 26th when the Mercury retrograde ends. So if you are a Taurus rising, a fertility god, this is going to be happening in your 11th house. The 11th house is the same energy as the 11th sign of the Zodiac Aquarius, which is a magic power and the story of the tribe, the community, the organization, and the culture. So what this means is you're going to be spending a lot of time going back and looking at your social circle, whether online or offline, your friends, your family, your co-workers. If you're a Hawaiian or a Mexican or a Democrat or an astrologer, it's time to change those social circles and fix and heal those things. Also, the culture that creates these social circles at this time. The food, the drink, the clothes, the silly hats, the silly jokes that make a culture a culture. You're going to be looking at those things at that time and changing them. Now, if you are a Gemini rising, a storm god with the magic power of distraction, this will be happening in your 10th house, which is the same energy as the 10th sign of the Zodiac Capricorn, which is a story of the mountain and the marathon and the wine that takes time to become fine. So this has to do with everything that is long and slow and hard, but we can't give up, like building our career, building our social status, building things whether physical or metaphorical. So this is a time with a lot of changes in your career. If you want to get that promotion, if you want to change your job, it's not going to be time yet. The time will happen on April 26th when the Mercury retrograde ends. What is your social status in your peer group? Are you a doctor? Are you a lawyer? Are you a janitor? Whoever you are, looking at how the outer world sees you. If there's anything you're trying to build at this time, like build a business or build a reputation, go back, work out the kinks, and you'll move forward on April 26th. Now, if you are a Sagittarius rising, an alchemist, god of turning lead into, actually no, not Sagittarius. If you are a Cancer rising, a divine mother of the rivers and the babies, has a magic power of softness. This will be happening in your 9th house. The 9th house is a similar energy to the 9th sign of the Zodiac, Sagittarius, which is a house of alchemy and nature and spirituality and divine true love. So this is going to be time where you are trying to spend more time in nature, but you're going to want to be changing how you spend time in nature at this time. Maybe you got to hang out in more forests instead of rivers. This has to do with things like education and higher education and spirituality. So if you're going to college, you're going to look at the classes you're taking, the friends you're hanging out with, and reevaluating that at this time. What about your father or father figures like priests or preachers or gurus? That's going to be very pertinent at this time. A lot of changes, a lot of healing needing to be done with that at this time. This also has to do with the body part of the hips. So dancing in the hips, there might be changes needing to be made at that time. This is adventure, like Lord of the Rings adventure. So if you're going on any long-term traveling or adventures, things are going to change at this time. All right, if you are a Leo rising, my kings of the Zodiac, ruled by the sun, this will be happening in your 8th house, which is a similar energy to the 8th sign of the Zodiac, Scorpio, with a magic power and story of death and swamps and all that dirty, awesome, amazing stuff. So what this means is that at this time, you need to let things die in your life. Maybe they're old physical wounds or old spiritual or emotional wounds. Maybe something happened when you were in the womb, right? And that trauma you're still holding on with, you're not ready to let go of it yet, but you're ready to work on it and let go of it on April 26th. So this has to do with things like swamps and volcanoes and manipulation and power plays. So anything that's kind of dark and having to do with the genitals or the anus or the bladder, anything you need to let go of, you're going to be working on that. A lot of smelly, dirty stuff you're not allowed to talk about. So things like inheritances, if you got any inheritances or wills or insurance settlements at this time, they will move forward after April 26th. If you have any deaths in the family, if you're dealing with any health issues around the bladder or the anus, it'll be a good time to let it go at that time. If you're liking cold plunges and stuff, a really good time to deal with cold plunges, because the 8th house is a fixed water house of cold, deep, dark water. Now, if you are a Virgo rising, a fairy of the forest with the magic power of medicine and healing, this will be happening in your 7th house of relationships. The 7th house is similar energy to the 7th sign of the Zodiac, Libra, which is the energy of harmony and beauty and relationships. So what this means is that this is not the time to go forward to create new relationships. It's time to look at how you create relationships and work on your existing ones before you create new ones. This is the time of flying around like a beautiful bird. So how do you choose to create relationships? How do you choose to be attractive and make friends? Looking at all these new contracts and friendships and romantic partnerships at this time. This has to do with things like clothing and style. So if you love your clothes and your style, this is a time to look back and change your clothing and style before you move forward with that. It has to do with the skin. So if you have any concerns or issues with the skin, you'll be working on those at this time. This is beautiful bridge energy. So any of those bridges and relationships, like trade wind energy, if you own a sailboat, you're going to be working on that boat at this time. Now the next sign of the Zodiac is Libra. Libra, you beautiful trade winds and trade wind gods and goddesses, which are the beautiful birds of the Zodiac. This will be happening in your 6th house. The 6th house is the same energy as the 6th sign of the Zodiac, Virgo, which is a house of medicine and health and healing and the forest. So what this means at this time is that you are going to be needing to work on fixing your health at this time. So the diets, the yoga, the Pilates, the coffee enemas, all of those health things that we do to fix and heal ourselves, that is what you're going to be looking back at this time. This is a scientist or lawyer energy. A lawyer fights with those that we love because we want them to be stronger and better, and we want to improve them and have them be right. Just like a scientist will do something wrong 99 times to get it right that one time, and then tell everyone how to do it right. So this is a time to be more critical of yourself and to work on all of those things you're trying to fix and improve. How do you argue with people at this time? How do you fight for what you want and improve yourself? A lot of self-improvement energy you're going to be looking at this time. It has to do with the intestines. It has to do with being of service. So if you've got that shitty customer service type of job, that's okay. a lot of changes around that at this time. Next sign of the zodiac is Scorpio. Scorpio is the same. I'm not going to edit this out because this is natural. Scorpio is my beautiful swamp gods and goddesses with the magic power of death. This is happening in your 5th house, which is the same energy as the 5th sign is the zodiac Leo, which is a magic power and story of creation and children and shining like the sun. So this is a time where you're going to be looking at your sovereignty and your freedom, what helps you feel like a king and shine your light and create what you want to create. So how are you creating this artistic stuff? How are you feeling free? This also has to do with children. So if you got any children, there's going to be a lot of changes and turmoil around them at this time. This has to rule things like investment and time. How do we spend our time and trade our time for money? Any investments that we have are going to be looked at this time. It has to do with the heart, spine, and the solar plexus. So pay attention to those body parts at this time. Next, we're going to Sagittarius rising, the alchemist of the zodiac. This will be happening in your 4th house. The 4th house is the same energy as the 4th sign of the zodiac, Cancer, which is a magic power and the story of the moon and power of softness. So how is your relationship with your home at this time? And what type of changes will you be making in your home at this time? As well as your mother. Your mother's coming in to your chart at this time, and she's going to be giving you messages and giving you things to change at this time. A lot of healing with your mother at this time. A lot of healing with things that are soft and innocent, like babies, baby plants, baby animals, baby humans, things having to do with land, having to do with the breast and the lymph system, because that's a body part the 4th house rules. How do you feel emotions and experience emotions and feel safe at this time? That's where the changes will be happening. Now, Capricorn rising. If you are a Capricorn rising, which is the gods of the mountains and the marathons and the builders of the zodiac, this will be happening in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is the same energy as the 3rd sign of the zodiac, Gemini, which is a magic power and story of change and distraction. So at this time, how do you change and distract things? So it has to deal with communication, things like text, phone calls, emails, and writing. There's going to be a lot of chaos, a lot of emails and texts going back and forth at this time. This has to deal with the younger sibling. So your younger sibling will be in your life at this time, working on fixing and healing them. It has to do with the arms and the vocal cords and what we want to get at this time. So if you have any health issues around the lungs or those things, those will be a lot of change happening. This is a lot of chaotic energy of the 3rd house. So there's going to be extra storm energy at this time. Maybe driving around or communicating more, but that's okay. Change is good. When the storm passes, there'll be a whole new path open to you. Now, lastly, if you are an Aquarius rising, a god of the culture and the tribe, this will be happening in your 2nd house. The 2nd house is the same energy of the 2nd sign of the zodiac, Taurus, which is a magic power and story of pleasure and fertility. So what this means is, how do you give and receive pleasure? With food, with drink, with beautiful music in the ears, beautiful smells in the nose, beautiful touches on the skin. How is your relationship with that stuff? And it will be changing at this time. This has to do with wealth. So how do you create wealth and stack wealth? Is it food? Is it drink? Is it gold? Is it money? What helps you create wealth in this world and your money at this time? This again is going to have to do with pleasure. So watch how you spend money at this time and what things please you with people at this time. A lot of fertility. So if you're working on trying to fertilize things, whether create new babies or grow new things in your life, there will be a lot of change in this area at this time. And that's it, everybody. Hope you watch this all the way through. I hope this was very helpful for you. This is so fun for me, and I love just connecting and sharing my stories as a wizard. What's most important for you to know is that I care about you, and that if you ever need anything, you can always reach out to me. Again, you can check out the blog to have this all written out. If you want to do a Zoom adventure with me, that could be really fun. You can support me that way. And please sign up for that 20-minute Zoom call for the market research, where you can help me create my natural astrology course. It's something I'm really trying to do, is create my passive solar powered income. And that's the best way to support me. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. Keep making love with astrology. I'm your wizard, Romanesco. Aloha.